This week on the Honor Roll podcast, we will be talking to honor students who worked with local organizations to build a more sustainable future for Tampa. Coming up next. Hey Honors Bulls, welcome to the Honor Roll podcast, the flagship podcast of the Judy Genshaft Honors College Podcast Network. I'm your host, Fabiana Requena, a second-year student studying marketing and business analytics at the University of South Florida, and a member of the Honors College. Today, my co-host is Caroline Merriman, a third-year student studying English and biology. How's it going, Caroline?
Hey, Fabiana. Hey, everyone. I'm Caroline, and it's just really great to be back on the podcast this week.
Yep, I'm happy to be here with you. And as always, we like to start the podcast off with one big question. So my question for this week is, what is the difference between honors capstone and thesis, and which one did you pick?
So an honors capstone is more of a course that you do as opposed to a thesis, which is more of a self-directed research project. So for the capstone, you'll essentially take a course and you'll do a really big project for kind of your final grade for that course. Mm-hmm. And I chose to do a capstone. It was an international business exchange that was taught by Professor Smogard. And I took it last fall, and what we did was we worked with students from a school in Colombia called Uni Norte, mm-hmm. and we basically had to come up with our own sustainable business idea that we could use to make the food industry more sustainable. And so we came up with technology to use for food delivery to prevent food waste.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was really, really cool.
You worked with an actual business, and you were able to kind of provide consulting advice, right?
Yeah, we came up with our own idea, mm-hmm. but we were able to have the students in Colombia, they actually got to reach out to local businesses and pitch our idea to them and ask them do you think this would help your business? And it was pretty much a resounding yes. We got to talk to some people from a really popular delivery business over there called Rappi.
Yes, I know Rappi.
So that was really cool to see how they could see our product helping them.
Oh, wow, okay. As a business student, I definitely would be interested in taking some kind of course like that where you get real hands-on experience, mm-hmm. and you actually kind of make a difference.
For sure, yeah.
Actually, there's another course that faculty Dr. Michael Cross teaches called Sustaining Your Future, Becoming a Consultant for a Better Tomorrow, that takes a really similar approach to this student-directed learning. We have all of that coming up next.
Are you interested in graduate study, prestigious scholarships, studying abroad? Serving all 3 USF campuses, the Office of National Scholars, ONS, mentors USF students for prestigious awards and scholarship programs focused on research, international education, graduate study, and intellectual development. If you're interested in applying for awards like Fulbright, Rhodes, or Marshall, don't wait. Meet with an ONS advisor to discover what's possible. You can visit the ONS website or drop by their office on the second floor of the Judy Genshaft Honors College building to learn more.
All right, I would like to give a warm welcome to honor students Mykyta Nechaiev and Tyler Briggs, as well as faculty Dr. Michael Cross. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. My name is Michael Cross. I'm an associate professor of instruction here at the Judy Genshaft Honors College. I've been teaching here as a full-time faculty since 2016, and I did some adjunct teaching back in 2014.
My name is Nick. I'm an honors student. I'm a sophomore in computer science, and I'm taking Dr. Cross's class right now.
Hi, I'm Tyler. I'm a freshman at USF, and I am also in Dr. Cross's class right now.
All right, well, it is so great to have you all here today. So now we're going to talk about the honors course that Nick and Tyler both took, called Sustaining Your Future, Becoming a Consultant for a Better Tomorrow, that is taught by Dr. Cross. So, Dr. Cross, could you tell us how you came up with this course? What was your thought process, and what does taking the course entail?
Yeah, great question. I started teaching in the Honors College back in 2014, as I told you. That course was interdisciplinary research and science, and it was really focused on the practical engagement of students in the process, philosophy, and practice of research. And then when I started teaching full-time, I realized there's an opportunity to get students involved in solving real-world problems. And so this course has evolved into that, where I'm getting students directly engaged with the local community partner, and they get to learn how to solve problems in that context.
And so this course is offered as a capstone and then as well as an IDH 3350?
That's correct, yes. So as a capstone, it started out, and then I saw the opportunity to expand it. It is a very different course, regardless of the section, regardless of the title. It's a very different course because every single semester I have a different community partner, and that's per section of the course. So as a student, I wouldn't advise students to do this, but I've had students that have taken both sections in the same semester. I've had them take it sequentially, and that's because you are dealing with someone different. So we've dealt with the Children's Museum, we've dealt with Briggs DeBartolo Collegiate High School, we've dealt with the University Area Community Development Corporation, and it's completely different, the problem that they're trying to solve and the people that you get to interact with and the work that you do with your project team.
Right. So I love that honors courses really give students here the opportunity to get immersed and involved with their local community. It's no wonder that you, Nick, and Tyler wanted to take this course. So can you tell us a little bit about what you found interesting about this course and why you decided to take it?
I was working as an honors ambassador last semester, and I had the pleasure of working on the third floor, which is a faculty floor. And Dr. Cross was on that floor as well because he's a faculty. And he told me about his class, and I really liked the idea. He did warn me that it would be a lot of work, and it's a lot of interesting work. And I was like, every class is a lot of work, so why not? Why would I be scared of that? And I was like, let me see what it sounds very interesting. Working with a community partner, it's basically developing a strategic plan for that nonprofit organization. And it sounded very interesting to me because I'm part of a nonprofit organization myself. I run multiple student organizations, and it's been a very interesting experience of working under mentorship of Dr. Cross, of developing a proposal for our partner Celebrate Birthdays. So it's a very interesting course.
For me, it's a little different. I didn't know much about the class at all when I signed up for it. I was scrolling through the courses online and looking for something that satisfied. I thought it satisfied a natural sciences course, which it doesn't. So what interested me was having connection to the community and getting that hands-on experience. That's something that I really love about the Honors College in general. And then I came to that first class and started looking at the syllabus, and I was like, oh, so this is what we're going to be doing. Okay. I won't lie, I was a bit scared at first, but it's actually been very manageable and definitely showed me that I'm capable of a lot more than what I thought I was.
Yeah, I can see why you guys were drawn to the course. It gives you a really interdisciplinary approach to community service and community mindedness. And I think when you're getting involved in the community and you're meeting people and you're getting to kind of work for something that is impact and goal driven, the work stops feeling like work, and you end up picking up a variety of different skills that you wouldn't have picked up otherwise, or wouldn't have maybe picked up in your major coursework.
Yeah, totally.
So could you guys give us a brief overview of your projects and maybe the organizations that you guys actually got to work with in the community?
Talking about meeting with people, as part of the class assignment, you have to meet with 24 people total. Your group has to talk to 24 people, and it's called Appreciative Inquiries. So you have to go out there to the community, meet the people you never knew before, or you had just a little bit of connection, networking, ask them if they know people you want to talk to. And then as part of the proposal, you have questions that you have to develop your proposal based on, and you go out there, talk to people. For example, for every section, the questions are different. For our section, it was how do wealthy individuals decide on how to donate their money to nonprofit organizations? What are the causes they want to support, and what's in their decision-making process of donating to a nonprofit organization? And the other question was how to optimize the operations of a nonprofit organization. So we've been talking to a lot of people in Tampa Bay community and U.S. in general who lead large nonprofit organizations, and also big donors who want to contribute to the causes in the Tampa Bay region and worldwide.
Yeah, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Cross, that each section has the same assignments. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But as you're working with your specific community partner, you're tailoring the assignments to that partner's need. So we specifically worked with Celebrate Birthdays, which is a nonprofit that focuses on celebrating all kids' birthdays that wouldn't have the chance otherwise. So focusing on like foster kids, kids that whose families are in poverty and so forth. So that's what we've been working on. And our group, Nick and I's group, our proposal is kind of about, so the goal is to like meet with someone during your appreciative inquiries that you can see a strong partnership between the community partner and the person that you've talked with. So matching those values, matching the pain points, and seeing a mutual beneficial partnership. That way it's something that can go beyond just this class. So you're really trying to put in work that will last beyond just this one semester.
Yeah, I really like that. That's a part of the course. And can you tell us a little bit about, there's different organizations that you work with. So this is specifically for your group project, but I assume there's more, right?
Yes. So I have two other sections. One section is working with Briggs Collegiate High School. They're actually in for the second round, so they liked what the students did so much that they said, we want to do this again with your class. So to Tyler's point, right, I have 16 weeks to deliver something of substance to the community partner that they can take and execute to. The assignments in the class are indeed titled Real World Problems. There's stakes behind it. Yes, you could deliver something to the community partner and it would go nowhere. On the other hand, you could deliver something to the community partner like with Briggs DeBartolo. Mm-hmm. They present it to their board. They make it a change in their organization and actually set up an alumni network based on the proposal students did from that last semester. And now the students this semester are working on expanding the operation of that alumni network to help their students get internships, find pathways to the university. And so I fully expect, and our community partners do as well, that whatever the students are delivering is going to be put to use in service to their goals and their aims. The last community partner that I'm working with this semester is Project Dynamo. Project Dynamo is a non-governmental organization that rescues U.S. citizens in conflict zones all over the world, as well as in areas of natural disaster. They were first on the ground here in Florida. After Hurricane Ian, they were the ones who were telling the Coast Guard where they needed to go. They were in Afghanistan almost immediately after the U.S. pullout, rescuing American citizens. Today, right now, as we speak, Brian Stern is in Haiti, rescuing American citizens that are trapped there due to the conflict. So he showed up yesterday at our final presentations via Teams and was showing us the helicopters and things that he was doing there on the ground. And so there are real stakes involved for the students, and what they put forth and the effort they put forth by talking to partners in the community, by talking to people that may have the means to contribute to that community partner. All those things matter.
How do you handle those kind of like ethical considerations in the class?
Ethical considerations like what?
Well, that you're dealing with these real world problems and the decisions that you're making in class have a real impact.
Yeah, that is precisely the purpose of the course. Right, in a typical course, you can imagine that you have an assignment that's contrived, if you will, that you have to learn some foundational information, and that's good. I think that's necessary. In the courses that I teach, it's all about preparing you for beyond not merely my classroom, but your time at the university, right? You're going to spend 4 years at the university. You might go to grad school, med school, law school, but you have at least a 40-year career ahead of you. That's what I'm preparing you for. And so when you ask, how do you handle the ethical considerations or what's going on the ground? Well, we handle them. And every situation is unique, every situation is different, and it's really about not what you should do in this particular situation, but how you handle yourself given a situation. One of the things that we talked about this semester specific to Celebrate Birthdays is, do they have competition, right? You're celebrating birthdays for foster children. Well, yes, they do. They have other nonprofits that are doing birthday celebrations, not quite in the same space with foster children. So how do you handle that? How do you manage that? How do you build relationships that are beneficial to everyone involved? And those are some of the questions that we engage with in the class, all in service to you as a student are going to be put in a situation like this in the future. Let's use this opportunity to figure out how we want to handle that.
And maybe all of you guys can kind of speak to this question from the educator and the student perspective. But when you have students tackling these really complex situations, working with real people, hoping to create a lasting impact on the community, there's a lot on the line, but there's also a lot of different things that have to be done to arrive at that goal, and a lot of skills you have to be able to pick up and execute. So what is it like to watch students go through that process? You know, what kind of growth do you see in the students that you're mentoring over that time? And maybe you, Nick and Tyler, you know, what was it like going through that process, and how did you have to push yourself through that?
Yeah, let's start with the students, and then I'll provide some framing.
I think it's definitely one of the most interesting classes that I've taken at USF so far. It's definitely showing how you can by doing something, it can benefit someone else. So in a lot of classes, like calculus, physics, all of the computer science or like language classes, you're just learning something and you get tested on it, and that's pretty much it. Like if you don't put enough time into studying the material, you don't get a good grade. Here it's a bit different because whatever you do, you achieve your end result. So you put your work toward the assignment. So for example, we have appreciative inquiries, we have to go talk to people. It's not that I have to sit down and learn something that as it's like very common college experience of going to the library, studying there for a few hours and then doing the same thing over and over again. This is a much interesting and much more closer to the real world jobs that you'll have once you graduate. And then you also have to do research, and then it's up to you what you want to take out of that. So like we've been focusing a lot on talking to people and going out there and talking to people. But one of our other group members was focusing on research, which is also a crucial part of the final proposals that we're going to do, because it's important to understand what the organization is. And I think this class is it teaches you a lot of what the real world really is, and it's not a common class experience that you would have at college. And it's been sometimes it's hard to of the size of the assignment and not the unusual assignment that it is. But a lot of times you really see the benefits that you get of doing this work, rather than when you're studying for your regular class, you just learn the test material.
I think there's two things about the course specifically that really help facilitate the students' growth naturally. One is Dr. Cross has it set up so the number, like the quantity of the appreciative inquiries that you have to do and the research, like the annotations that you have to do, gradually increases throughout the semester. So you have the initial chance to like fumble and take a bit more time getting used to the process. Another thing is that after every presentation that we give, we have a class then reflecting on it. So we go through and we start with the good stuff to get the dopamine going. Yeah. So we're like, okay, what from the other groups, they kind of reflect on our presentation and say what they thought went really well. And then we then do our own reflection, what went really well. And then after that, then come the feedback, like the constructive feedback. So the other groups then start first, and then we have to reflect on our own. So I think that has facilitated a lot of growth through, because we only have 3 presentations. And there was massive growth within just to the second. And then the third one, you're like, okay, yeah, we got this down, guys. So yeah, I think that's super helpful, just facilitating the natural like growth through a process.
Without diving too deeply into the tradecraft of pedagogy, the course has two objectives. One, that the students are prepared for life as best as I can in 16 weeks. And two, that we are doing something that is concrete on behalf of a community partner. Now, try to fit that into 16 weeks and you have a big challenge. So what do we do? Well, there are no throwaway assignments. There are no assignments that are just to do an assignment. All of the assignments that are on behalf of the community partner are intricately connected, as Tyler mentioned, right? It's an increasing number of conversations or research articles that you have to find. And then I have assignments, a track that is specifically and explicitly for you as a student. They're all titled, What's Your Next? And you talk about what types of problems you want to solve. I try to avoid the question, what do you want to do with your future? I think parents ask that question and it might send you into an existential crisis. Where instead I say, you solve problems. What do you want to solve? And how do you want to do that? And then that builds into another set of assignments and culminates with you have to go and talk to someone in your field of interest, in your area of interest, have a conversation with them, and then go back and refine what types of problems you want to solve. So there's this deep reflective component, lots of iteration, and all attached to what are you going to do, again, not just when you leave my course, but when you leave the university, how are you going to carry yourself? What's your comportment? What matters to you?
I love that this course gives you and students a sense of empowerment to start something. So this is really like a starting point because it can be really scary to try to solve a problem that you see in your community. So this is something really good. As far as what outcomes you have seen, what has been a really fulfilling part for you both as part of the project?
I can go first. So I've really enjoyed getting to know Belinda, who is the owner of Celebrate Birthdays. And at first, it seems like maybe, this nonprofit is doing great work, but where do I fit in? And then just building that relationship and knowing there's someone out in the community that would be willing to help me if I needed. And then if I'm in the chance of with extra time, I can text her and be like, hey, are you free today? Do you need any help? And it's super fulfilling to know that there's an easy place where I can invest my time where I know that I'm doing good.
I think for me, the fulfillment that I get is that I get to share the work that I've been doing with a person who is just starting their journey. Since I've been working in a nonprofit organization voluntarily, I think that sharing that experience and my connections in the nonprofit was essential for Belinda because there's a lot. When you're starting a new nonprofit organization, there's a lot of cool ideas that you have, and you're kind of grabbing onto everyone. You see new opportunities, and you're starting new projects every time. And then you find yourself when you're not keeping up with what you started a month ago, and you're trying out new things. So there's a very crucial point where you have to stop and understand that if you don't keep up with what you're already doing and start doing your things, you're just going to burn yourself out, and the nonprofit is going to collapse. So there's a point where you have to turn from doing the job yourself to finding volunteers and other people to do it and manage those people. And I think Belinda is very, very close to that point, and she already has started getting some volunteers on board to share her work. So I think my fulfillment wasn't that I've shared some things that I learned myself in a hard way of sharing it with a person who is just going into that process and stopping her from burning out and delegating the task to other people so she can grow her nonprofit organization while still sustaining her own mental health and well-being.
I'm Charles Adams. I'm the Judy Genshaft Endowed Honors Dean at the Judy Genshaft Honors College at USF. Being the Dean of the Honors College to me means providing our amazing students with the opportunities that they deserve. These are extremely gifted young people, and they are going to do wonderful things in the world. And my job is to provide them with the opportunities and the knowledge about those opportunities that they need to take full advantage of them.
So you both kind of mentioned how, like, with this project, you kind of saw needs and saw how, like, you with your personal skills could step in and assist people in making their lives easier and helping their nonprofit organization run more smoothly. Has this process kind of contributed to some kind of self-discovery? Have you learned things about yourself that maybe you didn't know before, or things that you didn't think you could do before? And how has that kind of interacted with the process as you've gone throughout the class?
Yeah, for me it was crucial because I've been utilizing a lot of resources that I could get from IEEE, which is an organization that I'm part of, and I've talked to a lot of executives and there's a lot of different branches of IEEE. I've talked to IEEE Foundation, which is the donor relationship, and they also have a IEEE Move project, which is similar to Project Dynamo, and also similar to what Belinda is doing, because she also wants to have a van going around and letting children choose the clothes that they want. So there's a lot of similarities and a lot of tangent lines that go in IEEE and that Belinda wants to do with Celebrate Birthdays. So and there's a lot of things that I can bring back to my personal work and realize that, hey, I've been working on measuring the impact and strategic planning for Belinda, and then I go back and be like, I can do strategic planning for my job, I can do strategic planning for my student organization, I can implement these things in my own life. So it's definitely been a learning curve both by sharing this information and learning it myself with talking to people and doing research.
Yeah, for me, I think something that was surprising is that I'm actually capable of bringing something valuable to this nonprofit, because it does seem like such a huge problem. That is that real world problem. So in the beginning, you're like, man, what am I going to bring to the table? I don't know, guys. So especially it being my first year at USF, I haven't quite had the chance to apply myself like this before. So it's definitely helped me see my worth a bit more and like realize what I do bring to the table, and also what are some things that I can work on working in like group situations, and so that's been really helpful.
So shifting the conversation a little bit, it is evident that honors courses can have a really deep impact on students and can be like a source of inspiration. So Dr. Cross, the Honors College is very involved in the community. And why is that a point of emphasis for so many of the faculty members here?
Well, I think it's important, if I could touch a little bit on our previous discussion, make that bridge. As I've noted before, you spend 16 weeks in my classroom, 4 years at the university, and then you are out into the real world. And it can be daunting to be told, you're the future, but you have no skills. And I'm quite honest with students. That might sound bad initially, but I start the classroom, the course off with, when you stepped into the classroom, you were just a student. But now that you're in the classroom, you're a change maker. That doesn't mean that you have the skills necessary, and you don't. Our community partner is not working with us because they believe you know how to run their business. They believe that you are willing to learn and put in the time and effort to develop a sense for what could help us solve that problem. And in doing so, then you will be qualified to solve problems for us. And so why are faculty invested in this, especially in the Honors College? I think there's some historical precedent with the Honors College that every faculty that has been here has been doing something in the community. So part of it is we've selected for those people who do so. Another part of it is that it's one of the most natural places here at USF, given our students' involvement in the community before they come in, as well as our faculty. And so we're taking advantage of natural pathways that exist. And as the students mentioned, it's meaningful to work not just, reading academic journals and talking about research. That's important. It's necessary for society. But it's when you're on the ground, when you are talking to Belinda. Like, how did I meet Belinda? Well, I was at one of my favorite restaurants, and I was talking to a beneficiary of her program. There's no better sell that one could make to get me engaged and interested. And it just so happened that she had her her storefront in an area where I've worked with multiple community partners, and I didn't even know she was there. So to me, that's very exciting. I get to discover something new every day. I get to learn about our community, and then I get to have impact. As I tell students and the community partners, I'm building the community I want my children to grow up in, right? Wow. And so I get to have that impact just as the students do. Not in the future, not tomorrow, but today.
That's very powerful. Dr. Cross, you are the creator of this course. How have you seen this course evolve over time? I know you touched a little bit about that, but what changes have you made over the semesters to kind of improve the course?
That's a great question and a very difficult question because I make changes every single semester. Mm-hmm. There have probably been 3 or 4 major epics in the course where we started out with one community partner that was an umbrella organization for what was going on here in the Uptown area, and then I started to branch out to individual not-for-profit organizations. In fact, the very first organization was a for-profit institution, and they were looking to reduce their carbon footprint. They sent out plastic mailers, and they wanted to transition to paper mailers, but needed to figure out a way to do that. What we found out was they needed to move much faster than I was able to move, or the students were able to move, to give them something useful for their business. And so we pivoted and said, we're going to look at not-for-profits and see if that pacing is a little bit better, and found that to work. That's just one example of the many changes that have been made over the years. And most of the changes have to do with how the students, what they need and the framework that they need. Why is the structure the same for every course? Because students are not like me. I like open-ended, go figure it out. But providing that structure made it possible for them to be productive in the course of the semester. Other changes are I have essentially a memorandum, or we're calling it now an RFP, a request for proposals, and that's what the students work from on behalf of the community partner. So I work with the community partner. We put that together before the semester starts, and that is their guiding document for everything that they will do throughout the semester. I could go on and on and on, but the course is constantly evolving. Much of the curriculum is based on entrepreneurial curriculum by Steve Blank, Lean Startup. And so going out and doing customer discovery, talking directly with people, understanding what they need is embedded in that. And I strongly suspect that the course will, even after this semester, have some changes and continue to improve to best serve first the students and where they want to go, and then our community partners.
So you kind of mentioned this endless feedback loop between the community and your students of, you guys are investing in the community, but in return the community is investing in your students, and you hope that your students take what they've learned from this experience and they continue it into the future, and it becomes what they are doing next. Have you seen kind of any fruit come of what students are doing next, or any students who have contacted you about projects maybe they've continued or things they're doing now? That's
a great question. 8 years ago, I would have to hope. Today, it's almost a sure thing, but I like to hedge my bets and say it's very likely that half of you are going to get jobs, a research position, or some other opportunity that you didn't even know was available to you at the start of the semester. One of our community partners was the Collegiate Children's Museum. This was several years ago now. In that case, what happened for the students? Well, one of my students got hired by the director of the program right out of the class. In another class, I had a student that was given a job offer, but she had more lucrative opportunities available to her. And a good part of that was due to what she was doing in the course. Going back to Glacier Children's Museum, the results of that opportunity working with the community partner, they were trying to get a grant renewed, and part of our role was to help them transition their existing program into something that was more scalable. So we did that. What was the result of that? Well, they got their grant renewed, and then they also got a second grant for a similar amount. So we essentially doubled their money. And when I say double their money, I'm not talking about $5,000 or $6,000. We're talking about $300,000 of grant funding.
That's a huge grant.
And the director let me know after the fact. So the students didn't get to hear about this other than the one that was working there, but it was real impact that they had so many months later. And now that director is the VP of the Southeast region for Girl Scouts. So she got a promotion out of that. So for me, that's all success.
Absolutely.
The number of students are probably too numerous to share that have gone and reached back out and said, "Hey, Dr. Cross, I took your class and I'm doing this now." And Dr. Cross, I not to ramble too much, but I had a student that approached me last year and she said, "Hey, Dr. Cross, I just wanted to ask your advice for this thing I'm about to do next. And I just want to let you know, when I went out into the workforce, it was a bit of culture shock, but I'm so glad I took your course because when you threw me out there into the deep end of the pool, I knew you weren't going to let us drown, but I got to learn about how I could manage the real world." So it was really, really good to hear. Very, very meaningful.
That's great feedback to hear from your course.
Yeah.
So would you guys, and all of you can answer this however you feel, have any advice for honor students who maybe want to take the course or who are kind of looking for something to fulfill for honors credits in regards to like this coursework?
I can go first. I would say even if you don't feel like you can do it, the class is pretty easy to get a good grade. So your stakes in school are very low, but it's a great opportunity in a very safe space to give yourself the opportunity to just try. So I would, even if you're hesitant, I would say give it a shot, see what you can do. If you fail in this class, the only way you can fail is to just not do your work. If you fail in the sense like, oh, that presentation wasn't very good, you're actually gaining a ton of experience because you're learning what, like, you have that feedback in class and you're learning what you can do better. So you're going to end the semester way farther ahead than if you had not taken the class.
I think a lot of honors college classes are very beneficial in terms of you get a unique experience that you would never get anywhere else, and you also get to know students from different majors because usually you take a class and it's just your college or just a class of fully your major students, and you get that connection with other majors as well. Because I would have never met Tyler, who's a world languages major, and I would never go there and meet someone like that. And I think the course itself provides a lot of, as I said earlier, it provides a lot of, it puts you in a real world situation where you have a problem and you need to solve it, and no matter what, and you have to go out there and talk to people, have to do research, and then so that's what you're going to be doing in your job, in your real world when you move on, no matter where you go. And then you also get a great mentor like Dr. Cross. You go to him and you're like, "Hey, I have this going on." Not even related to class. You can go ask him. He has, and a lot of professors in the honors college also do. They have tons of experience in so many different fields. Like Dr. Cross, he has 3 degrees in 3 different fields. In computer science, physics, and entrepreneurship. That's like 3 completely different worlds. And you get to speak to someone who has that many experience and give you the advice of what to do in your life. You can go out and ask him, what should I do with this? And he'll go sit down with you for like an hour and talk to you, and you figure it out together.
As I like to say, the real class begins in office hours. and it's very true for me. I'm more interested in talking with you as an individual than when I am talking to the class, I have to talk on behalf of everyone. I have to deliver content so that everyone can deal with it. But when it comes to you as an individual, office hours or side conversations, I can make that all about you. And we'll certainly leverage content and assignments that were in the class as a way of moving that conversation forward. But it is all about the student. And that really gets to, I think Tyler's point was great. The grade is easy if you're working hard. It is hard work. And I ask the students this question: are you going to remember your grades 10 years from now? Is anyone going to ask you about it? Now, it's very important right now. You need to demonstrate that you are going to put in effort and that you're going to demonstrate excellence. Absolutely, today. But the role of my course is to prepare you for your next, where you're going, and what that's going to be like. And that is, if you are a doctor, you're a physician, and you need to be on work on time because patients are depending on you, you're either to work on time or you're not. Mm-hmm. And there's no grade on that. People's lives are at stake. Not to be less hyperbolic, right? 99% of your job is showing up to work on time and doing the job you're hired to do. And that is a big part of what I aim to convey in the classroom.
It seems like your course is definitely one that students would look back on in their college experience and be like, yeah, that's the course I remember. That's the course that kind of changed, the trajectory of my journey, or those are the skills that I have taken into my life after college, which is some of students' biggest stressor. So I'm sure that taking your course is a really great opportunity to get that time to play around and have self-discovery and kind of mold what you're going to be and what you're going to do in the future, and to have you as a resource to kind of soundboard those ideas off of as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I feel like honors courses in general are just so much more intellectually stimulating and hands-on as opposed to like my regular core business courses, which I don't feel I get that proper application in. So, well, I could sit and talk to you all here all day, but it was truly inspiring to hear about how honors courses can lead students to make a difference in their community and solve real-world problems. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us back in the studio. Well, Fabiana, what do you think about the podcast today?
I thought it was super insightful to have a professor and student perspective, especially for me, who's somebody that is looking to take a capstone course, and as a business student as well. I kind of just am navigating that process, and I want to see my different options, and I would totally consider taking this course with Dr. Cross.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful to have conversations like this where students are kind of able to imagine themselves in another person's shoes who maybe have taken this course and kind of see it working for their experiences and how they're trying to build their own future.
Absolutely, because it really helps you build experience and like even something to talk about during interviews or put on your resume. So I think this is really great.
Yeah, and so everyone, listening, if you're a student in the Honors College, don't be afraid to, reach out to fellow students or professors and just see what other capstone courses are out there or thesis opportunities. And be sure to check out the Honors website that will have all those courses listed for the upcoming semesters. And with that said, don't forget to check the Honor Roll newsletter and our website at usf.edu/honors for all upcoming events, updates, and news.
That will do it for this week's episode. The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genshaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by honor student Abby Malloy and Professor Adam Davidson. Thank you all so much for listening. Please do not forget to rate and review our podcast. We really appreciate your feedback. Tune in next week for more stories from the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Until next time, go Bulls!